Welcome back. Brutal Affliction versus Critical next up. On your screen, Brutal Affliction in their Telltale Purple. They did very well yesterday. They played against Reaper. And they won their points there. Ref's doing some final checks there. Making the field safe, quite just for a quick second, throwing up some scaffolding. Of course, that scaffolding is for the other camera, so we have that extra angle for you. Blowing up some bunkers in the cold. Refs on the corner of your screen are right there. It's been a good morning so far. Well, for some teams, maybe not others.
To a different place, float on air, and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin, and just levitate.
There's your 30-second counter. Not sure if you caught that there, but it's Brutal Affliction versus Critical. This is a big match. Brutal doing very well yesterday, so let's see how they do now. We will have to keep an eye out. We just did some bunkers, lifted some scaffolding up so we can put up another camera for you. This is what early mornings do, but it's good to be awake. There's so much more you can do in your day when you're up early. On your screen, Brutal Affliction breaking left to right.
Game on.
Critical moving a play into that three-quarter brick bunker. Brutal Affliction mirroring it. There is a check on the Critical player. It's been cleared to play. There's both of them mirroring each other into the snake. They're not aware of each other. There's a snake 50. They're literally on the wrong side of the wing bunker. Do they know that they're there? There's the gun and the shooting. There's an exchange. They're both going to wear that and get out. So it's a 1-for-1 between Brutal and Critical. Haven't seen any other bodies drop just yet. Not much big positional changes. It's just been a steady stream of fire across the field. You can see Brutal's set up right there. Their most aggressive player was a snake player. Now it's that Dorito 1, 2, and 3 position. Brutal does lose a play on their back bunker. But eyes on 2. I know there's 3, maybe 4 Critical left. Brutal will move a play into that three-quarter brick, replacing a Critical immediately mirrors it as well. I'm not sure if they actually do see each other or they're just all having the same idea at the same time. Because of the caliber of paintball that's on option here, there's a Brutal player also in that Dorito 4 position now on the far side of the field. Please note, though, ladies and gentlemen, as well, we're finishing the Champions prelims, then going straight into Champions and Challengers, semi-finals and finals. Then we go back to the other division playoffs. No big positional changes here. Both teams happy to sit a bit, no rush whatsoever, so it is going to be one of our longer points. Critical moves into that snake wing inside the cluster. Good communication coming out from Critical. They're constantly talking and making sure. Brutal now aware of that snake 2 position there. Even this early in the morning, quite a bit of supporters still out there coming to watch. Obviously, yesterday you saw how action-packed you could see in the background the crowd. That's going to get thicker and thicker as the day carries on. Brutal moves the player out of that 3/4 brick into that pre-snake wing. Critical talking constantly. Moving that player up now into the snake 50. I'm not sure if they know he's there though. I do believe that's Paroled. No significant movements at the moment. The teams are talking a lot. I mean, look at this. This is close to 4 minutes being played now at the moment, which doesn't happen often. Normally it's quicker rounds than that and that. But the first point's clearly the big important one. Brutal moves up. He tries to go all the way up to try and take a player, but Perold saw him. I'm not sure he picked him up. I think he got bunkered on the Dorito side. Brutal trying to make something happen, but have they forced it at the cost of a point?
Foul.
I think they have. Losing that body. Critical takes a point against Brutal. Remember, Brutal Affliction is leading the tournament at the moment, but Super Cup's 80 double points, so other teams could come in and snatch it from them depending on where everyone finishes respectively. Your next set of teams is Apocalypse versus Revolt. They're playing back-to-back games, old Apocalypse and Revolt. So they should be awake, that's for sure. Apocalypse winning their first set against Team Wall. Revolt going down to Reaper. I know Revolt. I know I've spoken to a bit of the Oaks in between the set as well. They're definitely going to want to be bouncing back from this positive.
10 seconds.
Apocalypse will be breaking left from right. Revolt right from left.
Game on.
Apocalypse doing those bunkers that they've done again. They hold the center, far left, far right bunkers, throwing that snake wing, and then a Dorito player moving back though. Revolt tossed in that 3/4 brick snake side. Apocalypse returns the favor. Now Revolt moves into that snake 50. The quarter brick on the far side of the field on the Dorito side was there for Apoc. He's been picked out. There's going to be a play here. This Apocalypse player is outside the cluster. He's going to pick up that snake 50 player on the call. He looks back at his teammates annoyed because he's not getting the call that the Apocalypse moving up. This is De Silva and Van der Vaart. Takes out that Dorito one as well. The Revolt players are just getting picked off where they're not supposed to.
Towel.
Right in front of you, obviously, there's not much you can do if your teammates don't let you know or cover you. But it's about that communication. That player got picked down, not able to chat to his buddy, then causing the issue, so to speak. So well done on Apocalypse. Quick point there. Your next set, though,
30
which is
seconds.
slow point, not serious. Which is essentially which was one of the longest points of champions we've had so far. With the rain yesterday, we haven't had much champions paintball, but it's here now to stay. 5 minutes, just over 4 minutes played in the previous point for 1 point that Critical took. Brutal Affliction happy to take their time. They don't sense the rush. is 1 point.
Game on.
Brutal will be wanting to come back. Critical on your screen, breaking into that three-quarter brick snake area. Brutal have the same thing. Brutal has lost the play off that original break. I believe it's Craig Marty. A lot of paint being thrown. Brutal's going to take their time. They're not going to let this point phase them. They know there's enough time on the board. Critical's communication spectacular. I see another Van Niekerk from Brutal taken down. The thing is, if they're going to want extra points in that regard, they're not going to. They can't allow themselves to be picked off like that from distance, because that's their game. They normally the crack shots from distance. Oi, there's been a flag on Critical. I do believe it was a red, if not a yellow. Now Critical's lost another teabag Dorito corner player. This is not good. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 players. There's 5.
Towel.
Literally
Towel.
within seconds of all 4,
Point
5
approved.
critical players out of there. We're going to find out if it's a yellow or a red flag. I do believe, not 100% sure, but these flags are what's costing these teams. They immediately result in other swing points. That means it's a tie-up, though, as well, between Critical and Brutal Affliction.
30 seconds.
But there's that tie-up we spoke about.
3 for 1, shot on the pod.
20 seconds.
Red, 3 for 1, shot on the pod. Red counts as a wipe.
There we go. So essentially, it was a red
10
flag on
seconds.
Critical shot. Gross major. So that's why you literally saw so many critical people just walking off the field. Shot on the pod, essentially trying to wipe it
Game
and
on.
caught in the process. Now back to the game that is Critical versus, it's Revolt versus Apocalypse. Apocalypse right to left on your screen now is Revolt. Revolt will be wanting to get that point back though. Revolt got that Snake 50 player up. Apocalypse moving a play on that far Dorito side. The Snake 50 player completely shut down for Revolt. They know he's there. He's busy being pinched on 2 to 3 sides. Aaron, the Dutch player for Revolt, out of here. He's been picked off. There's 2 players on that Snake 50. They don't know they're there. Within spitting distance of one another. There's going to be an exchange. It looks like the APOC player is waiting for it. There's going to be an exchange. And there's the exchange. That happened very quickly. Revolt players out with the Apocalypse player clean. Now there's another exchange, and it's Eaton who wears it now for Revolt. He's out of there. The APOC player still manages to stay alive. That's a 2-for-0 exchange. That's not what Revolt would have wanted. Those exchanges need to count for something for Revolt if they want to get another point. Well played by that Apocalypse player in the Snake. Not 1, but 2. Bang, bang. Apocalypse has dropped the body in the back bunkers now, though. But it seems that that's going to be Revolt done. Too much paint being thrown at those back bunkers. Seems Apocalypse going to take a 2-0 lead.
Towel. Towel.
No one going
Towel.
for that base whatsoever. They're
Point
not there.
approved.
They're not there to make your lives easier. 2-0 Apocalypse against Revolt. Again, Revolt struggling a little bit. Which means we go back to Critical and Brutal.
30 seconds.
Critical still starting 5,
20 seconds.
Not sure if you could hear head ref Byron van Staden, the leader of the Porpoises, telling us that they're still starting with 5 critical because there was enough bodies
10
on the field
seconds.
to pull for the previous gross major. And again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. If you take a flag, you're losing a point. Simple stuff. Got to make sure. Here at Champions, the other teams
Game
make
on.
sure to punish you. Critical moving a player, 3-quarter bunker. Brutal on the Snake side. Brutal Affliction mirrors it. Dorito 3 for Brutal Affliction as well. Now Snake 50. Who's that? Janssen van Rensburg in the Snake 50. In the cluster. There's going to be an exchange here on that three-quarter bracket sometimes. Player is called out. He got picked up before Janssen van Rensburg really took him out. He was busy gathering his pod, but obviously the player can't see that. But he was taken out before van Rensburg popped him off with like 5 or 6 shots. Moving up in that Snake 50, trying to throw some paint across that Dorito side. There's that three-quarter brick in action just to the left of head ref Byron van Staden's head. Brutal, easy opening out. They want to take advantage of that Dorito side. Critical also taking a player there. He's in Dorito 1 now. He's moved across. Brutal happy to sit. Again, these are long points between Critical and Brutal Affliction though. I think it's maybe the tactics and the play style that lends itself to it. That's indicative of the timing. Critical loses a Dorito 2 or Dorito 3 player. Good communication, though. We have to admit that it's coming out well from Brutal Affliction. Constantly hearing them talk to my left. With only 3 minutes left on the clock, one could argue the validity of this point. Because even if this point is then taken, depending on the time, there's enough people live for this point to go either way. So which way is it going to go, though? Is it going the way of Critical or Brutal? Because this point is going to have strong repercussions because it gives them a 1-0 lead with only about 2.5 minutes left. We also need to see, will a comeback be able to be made or not? Not as much paint being thrown around. They're allowed to carry more paint, but remember, not nearly near. They're allowed to pick up as well. But you don't want to be popped off whilst you're busy scrabbling around in the grass like some grass scrabbler. Got eyes on 3 Brutal players. One quite high. That's an interesting use of that three-quarter bunker. It works out well, though, because he's on the other side of the field. Player wants to move up. He has to watch out for that Dorito. He moves up. No eyes on the Dorito. He bunkers the safety corner. He stays alive himself and then picks up across the field. That was a great play by Janssen van Rensburg of Brutal Affliction. Moved up, bunkers the Critical player, then still able to turn and then take out the furthest one across the field because it looked like it was turning into a bit of a stalemate there. Great play. Got to risk it to get the biscuit, I'm always told. Also, staying alive in these exchanges is no easy feat, especially if the Oak sees you coming. Then that actually often backfires your whole plan quite terribly. But Apocalypse versus Revolt, your next set. So, congrats to Brutal Affliction. I mean, it's 2-1. That's only a 1-point lead. There's still some time left, so Critical nowhere out of it. But Apocalypse versus Revolt, over 7 minutes to play.
10 seconds. Game on.
Apocalypse on your break now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Apocalypse was on your screen there. Revolt breaking right to left. They've lost one off the break. They're moving a player straight up into that Snake 1 cluster, that 50 break on the far Dorito side. Apoc moving, I believe it's no run into the Snake 50. There's going to be an exchange here. They're right on the other side of each other. They're going to exchange. It's exactly what happens. Down he goes. Revolt player stays in. Revolt looking like they're in a bit of a better position, but Apocalypse aren't going to get flustered easily. It should be a 4-4 gun equal advantage at the moment. Revolt on that Snake 50. They know he's there though. Player being called out on Revolt. There's an exchange. The amount of paint exchange is absolutely ridiculous. There was a huge amount of paint exchange there. Apocalypse player out for his actions against the Revolt player.
Towel. Towel.
Towel thrown in by
Towel.
Revolt. I don't think they had the bodies on the field anymore.
Point approved.
The point is approved. APOC goes 3-0 up. I mean, there's still just shy of 6 minutes left to be played there. It is a 3-0 lead. This next game is hotting up, though. This should be interesting.
Thirty seconds. 20 seconds.
Sure, you heard your 20-second counter there. Brutal Affliction versus Critical. This has been a tight game.
10 seconds.
Only 3 points in it. 1 separating them. 2 minutes left on your screen. Critical's going to look for that overtime.
Game on.
Brutal showing more aggression than they have in the past. Thinking this is going to win for them. Snake 50 player. There's a Critical player also now on the Snake 1 outside the cluster. Brutal player wears it in the head. Couple in the shirt, but you can't stay in the lane. There was a Brutal player also at the 3-quarter bunker. He was out. I believe it's Craig Martin. Critical coming in hot. What's Brutal done? They've been picked up. I don't think there's anyone left. All the paint's being thrown out. All of it. All the paint. There's no one to throw it to. Brutal have been absolutely annihilated in under 50 seconds. That is ridiculous. That hasn't happened in a while. Brutal Affliction and Critical have been, don't misunderstand me, the slower teams of the day. And I don't mean slow in a negative way whatsoever. Just teams that have taken their time more, aren't in a rush to knock out that point, aren't the most aggressive out there. And then right there, Brutal Affliction actually came out a bit aggressively, and Critical returned the favor, taking that point and tying it up 2-2 with only a minute or two left. Oh, that was a hell of a point. It must be pointed out. Spectacular play by Critical. Did very well.
$20 seconds.
Really, really good play by Critical to tie that up 2-2. We haven't had an overtime yet. Let's see how this plays out. But we're going back
10
Apocalypse
seconds.
and Revolt. So APOC and Revolt, 3-0 at the moment. Lots of time. Time not an issue.
Game on.
On your screen is that Revolt break. Player gets picked up off the break. That's Eaton, of course. Another Snake 50. Apocalypse is also on the 3-quarter break, so there's probably an exchange coming up. Revolt lose their Dorito 1 player as well. That's 2 guns down, not they wanted. In the background, you can see an Apocalypse player also leaving the field, so the advantage not as bad as it was. Look how close those bunkers are to one another. Apocalypse player moves from that quarter brick into that wing in the Snake cluster. Player called, it's the Dutch player on Revolt, called out of that 3-quarter break. So now it's about Apocalypse picking up. There's going to be an exchange. He goes the other way, picks him up completely. A great play by Apocalypse. Went round the other side, did not expect it at all, expecting it forward. Went round the back, knowing that there's no Dorito Revolt players to pick him up. And if he did, he was quick enough to make sure to get across. He probably got picked up for his efforts if there hasn't been a buzz hit yet. Apocalypse moving up. I believe there's no one left. Only the one bunk on Revolt gets hit. What a call. Apocalypse takes it down as well. Rutowski, I believe, or the Apocalypse player here who got hit in 88. But that's after he picked up that bunker shot across the field to take out that Revolt bunker Dorito player. No rush by Apocalypse. They're going to take their time, walk up. Time not a factor. Remember, Apocalypse will get this point, and it is approved, and nothing out of the ordinary happens. So to speak, Apocalypse should be beating Revolt 4-0.
Base.
There's that base hit. The refs checking them thoroughly. Going to chrono the gun. These champions making some silly mistakes here.
Point approved. Game finished.
Someone's starting 4. I believe it's Critical because they're on the right bunker starting 4. And this is not the point you want to be 4 on. This is a tight game. Tied up 2 apiece. It's been 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Yes, Critical starting 4. Not what they would have wanted. Just over 1:10 left. We could get our first overtime of the day.
20 seconds.
Remember, a lot can happen in 2 minutes, eh? Well, 2 minutes agreed. 1:10.
10 seconds.
Your options start getting limited. Brutal on your screen and now in breaking a left to right. I'm not sure they're aware Critical only has 4, so they need to be awake here.
Game on.
Nice break out of Brutal. So far, not anyone getting picked off the break that I can tell. Critical moves a 3-quarter bunker player. Headriff Byron from
60
start and
seconds.
jumping up and down. He took one under the arm. 60 seconds on the clock. How's this going to play out? Critical moving up. Still aggressive, only with 4. They have picked out that 3-quarter bunker player. He's still alive here. I believe that's Zinner. Wears it on the head out of that Snake 50. He's out. That Dorito 3 for Brutal Affliction, worth his weight in gold at the moment. There's that 30-second counter. Brutal wanting to move up. They're not wanting the overtime. They're pushing. Critical have dropped bodies. Is it going to be enough, though? Brutal moving up, moving up. I'm not sure if he picked him up, though. I'm sure he's been taken out for his time. Now they need to move. There's only about 15 seconds left on the clock. Not many Critical players left on the field. Are they going to be able to move up? They need to move now. 10 seconds. Player on Brutal, on Critical called out. Brutal moving up. I think that's all the Critical players out. They do bunker him and they're going to go and they're going to hit it. And they grab that point in the last 4 seconds. Absolutely spectacular. Only 4 seconds on the clock. Brutal Affliction. More than happy with that. Now, I'm sorry to be that guy, but would a 5th player on Critical side have been the difference of those 4 seconds or not? Forcing the overtime instead of taking a loss. Silly mistakes could cost you big here. Point approved. Well done, Brutal Affliction, taking the big W there, winning 3-2 in what has been the tightest game of the day, that is for sure. So that's your set done, essentially, with Apocalypse beating Revolt 4-0. Brutal Affliction beating Critical 3-2 in a close game. Bit of luck on Brutal side with Critical going in with 4, but that doesn't mean we can take away from how well they played in that final point. 1:10 seconds, and they rocked it. Your next set, Awesome versus Patriots. Patriots first setup this morning. Awesome's first one this morning as well. Then Team Wall back in action with Critical playing back-to-back points. Let's hope Critical pick themselves up and get back into the action. My name is Adam Zawada, coming at you live from the Emerald Resort and Casino. Super Cup 2018, the live action of Pro Paintball.
We could run.